Breeding the perfect fruit, battling the weather, and investing thousands in equipment, only to have your harvest rejected and be paid like it's 1976. That's the reality for Bo, a farmer we visited in Shepparton. Stick around to hear what else we uncovered and how we can all help change this.
We do all sorts of fancy shit just to
make it pink.
To make spec, because originally the original Pink Lady was a 40-60 by colour, or 50-50. Now,
so it needs like half red,
half green, or whatever. But then the supermarket said, no, we want it 60-40.
More blush.
No, we want it 80-20.
What?
And I think at one point they just said, no, we want 100% colour. Well, that's not the apple. So this is a new variety of Pink Lady, which is redder than the old ones, and we just keep making new ones that are redder. Probably don't taste as good, but they're redder. Before we had this machine, we would literally go along
and just strip the branch
and strip leaves to allow the colour in.
Really? Just to give it some more sunshine?
Just to satisfy the needs of, apparently the consumers.
Yeah, and we want it bigger and better.
Yeah, and that's not how it works. It's just like we're growing shit in a paddock, dude. It's not a lab. So this is one of the first versions of Pink Lady, well, new versions, Rosy Glow.
Yep.
And they all just taste a bit shit. Someone goes in, they notice a really red tree consecutively, year after year.
Yep.
They take a graft, they spread it over another 50 trees, spend the next 3, 5, 7, 10, 15 years assessing it.
Yep. And
then once they establish that it is definitely
something
different, and then you can give it a name and flog it off to the masses. But generally, we sort of don't grow anything out of spec.
Yeah, you just try.
Sort of more the problem is having to get everything to spec.
Yeah.
Even these pears here, I have no problem selling them, but they don't seem to want to return good money. And these are probably my favourite pear to eat. These are Williams.
Oh, they're Williams.
Which we're just picking for juice.
Yep.
Because we could have probably gone through again and picked out some, but the problem is every time you go to pick one, it's usually got a problem.
Yeah, you find something else that's got an issue.
What are we going to sell this for? 350 or 400 a tonne? So that's $200 a bin return, which is below cost. Small or misshapen or too much black spot. That's a little bit of hail. This is summer spot, which is just gets rejected straight away. That's way too much. That's just russet or limb rub. This is just undersized, misshapen. That's not really undersized.
That's not too bad.
They'll bag that, but it's got too many problems already.
Yep.
And they don't even like the red blush. Really, they want a nice, very green pear with no problems.
Is there any perfect ones in here?
No, there's not. There's bugger all.
So how much marking's okay? Is that okay, or is that a problem?
That'll be second grade.
Yeah.
Look, it might make it into first. It all depends if they missed it or not. Sometimes we throw out a lot of fruit just for other reasons. Like on the Pink Lady, there's this tiny little bug called a scale.
Yep.
It leaves a tiny little red dot, and if I can't remember what the specs are, more than 3 dots on the same size, it gets rejected. And they want everything to be the same. They make it out as if it's an alien fruit. It's just a piece. It's just an apple.
It's just an apple. Like coming into the season, what was the sort of communications? What did they tell you?
Well, they didn't tell me bugger all. They told us last year that they would be onto it. So next year will be better. We're not going to do the same as we did last year because it was a bit of a failure. And they come back a month before picking and decided that the fruit needs to be a Pacific size, which within a month, there's not much we can do about it. So that did make it difficult, so hence, trying to find another avenue to get rid of it so we can actually return something for these things, because so far, in the 5-6 years I've been growing them, they've really just been a cost. Even just the effort, I had someone here the other day and he's like, are you serious? You do all of this?
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of bloody work for not much money. So I could say, all right, I'm going to let my fruit go ripe this year, I'm going to pick it, and you're going to pack it. The money could be just shit then, and I have no choice. I can't predict that. I found a receipt from 1976, I think. It was $280 in 1976, it was $280 in 2016.
40 years apart from these invoices, same product, slightly bigger bins now, so in essence you're getting less money in exact terms, but also you think about, you're factoring in your cost base and inflation.
Yeah. It's nothing. Yeah. And the other thing with the supermarket that I find annoying is that we present this fruit, it is flipping beautiful, Like, and in their shed they go again, you know, make it awesome. They turn boxes around, they put them on a certain angle, fancy stickers on them, make them all look pretty, and then they get to the supermarket and they go thunk, and then go, oh, someone should complain to this farmer, look at his fruit. That's terrible. We shouldn't pay him. I'm like, mate, that's not how the fruit left my farm. Well, look, I don't even like the supermarket personally. Like, they take too much, they give too little.
Yeah, I mean, if we can pick it and within 48 hours it's in the house, it sort of eliminates all the need for this fluffing in the middle.
Yeah, I'd much prefer if everything only got eaten for 3 months.
Instead of trying to put it in a cold store, sit it for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then so you've got the pressure also of the spec that you're trying to hit, so you've got less yield.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and you're putting in more effort to get to the spec.
Yep.
You're spending more money just to make sure, you know, like if you spend money on netting, you know, most people don't net bloody plums, but in that last 2 weeks of that hot weather, I probably would have lost 20% to sunburn. We're lucky because we're orchardists and we have access to a massive channel system and a huge dam. The rain is not a problem. The last 2 weeks of 40 degrees.
Yeah, it was hot.
Yeah, that is a problem. Like, you know, especially when fruit's ripening, your surface temperature of your fruit just goes off the chart and ends up, you know, burning in 6 different ways. And basically above 28 degrees, most fruit doesn't actually grow, it just goes into
survival mode.
Survival mode,
yeah.
That's the word.
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight, yeah. We had like 3 hailstorms this year, not as bad as last year. We only got touched up by 1 and a minute. You know, to the north of us, they got completely wiped out, some of their orchards, like 100% not even worth picking at all. Like, it's not even worth juice. So it's basically...
Not even worth juice, so it's just completely bad.
Yeah, it's just like, it's too bad for juice. Like, you know, or it's like a little bit like we were talking about before, it's not viable to sort because the money's not there. You know, in a bad year, we could have a sea of fruit on the ground because they wouldn't pack it. And the juice price back then was not existent.
Bugger all, yeah.
And even the weather changes, like, you know, like I'm not going to keep on about climate change because it's a whole other subject, but the weather definitely is changing, and that sort of, you know, it's just another challenge, I suppose. It's just the fact of having all this waste and all these, you know, non-spec products that I basically have to juice for no money when it obviously cost me the same amount of money to grow. So I just thought, you know, it's no harm in trying. I like the idea that people, you know, consumers actually have a decent piece of fruit, even if it is a little bit oddly shaped or marked or damaged.
How does it sort of, like, how do we compare in terms of our, like, how we operate together compared to supermarkets and stuff?
So far it's been pretty easy, and it's a lot more simple. Like, I'm basically talking to the guys selling the fruit rather than to the forklift driver that unloads me at the shed. You know, and then it's sort of bye-bye fruit. Good luck. I hope you get there all right. In doing that, I can provide, and you can provide, you know, much riper fruit. Because at the moment, the supermarket tells us what the consumer wants for some paperwork they did in an office somewhere, not by actually talking to the consumers. Because if they did, the consumers would be getting what they want. They don't tell people, they're actually dishonest. You know, they always say fresh and blah, 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 but they didn't tell you that fruit was picked 12 months ago. You know, they didn't tell you how many processes it's been through, how many miles it's done, and yada, yada, blah, like that. So I suppose that's, you know, one of the reasons that I whinge about them. There's a million other reasons you can whinge about the supermarkets.
What's your favourite thing about farming? What do you like?
Well, in the end, it was just the freedom. And then my freedom disappeared. So now I'm not sure, really. I don't know what I like. I suppose the freedom went away with this, you know, with the price. It was like I was talking about before. The freedom went in 1976, where I was getting $280. Like, that's where the freedom went. In the money.
You have the freedom was there.
I can't afford to pay people to do other things, so I just got to do more.
Hundreds of farmers are going through the exact same thing as Bo, and that's why Farmers Pick exists. To work directly with farmers, rescue their imperfect produce, and deliver it to our customers. Farmers get the respect and the reward that they deserve for their hard work, and our customers get fresh produce direct from the farm. Curious and want to be part of the change? Head to our website to learn more.